competitive. Skill-wise, he was highly underrated. Magnificent judge of the flight of the ball and a beautiful set shot. It's handy when you have players that when the game's on the line, they want to stand up and they want to be the one to influence moments. And that was Brownie in a nutshell. He played well in a team, that was successful, and then he carried a team later on, that had its battles and fought to make them competitive week in and week out. And for me, that consistency at a really high level is the mark of him as a footballer and also his character and will as a person.
Brown has won out with Fletcher. Oh, wonderful mark, Jonathan Brown. Vintage Brown.
His presence was second to none. I mean, I know that I used to walk taller when I used to run past with my opponent, and Brownie would be in my opponent's ear saying, "Keep running them past me, Lukey," and they used to get into him.
A powder keg waiting to explode.
The best players always do have a belief, and he loved the game and was passionate about the game, and he grew up with the characters of the game through the 80s and the 90s, and a lot of his traits, were born from watching Brereton, watching Carey and studying these guys and honing his craft.
Through the traffic shading, won that ball, in long we go. Oh, Brown! What a man, he's unbelievable.
Pretty fortunate that day. I reckon if we look closely at the tape, Alistair Lynch gave him a little bit of a chop out by grabbing Jade Rawlings and throwing him out of the way. When you came out of the middle with the ball, he had an amazing ability to be able to turn up on your leg, and it didn't matter who you were, right footer, left footer, Black, Lappin, Voss, Ackermanis, he was always there. And at the time, I always just used to think, well, it's a good kick, but it's not till I started coaching and I've actually realised, how hard it is for a forward to get in those positions all the time and be there when the kicker looks up, and he was exceptional at it.
They know that their man is bigger, stronger and better than the opposition.
He'd never ask a teammate to do anything that he wouldn't do, and obviously as a teammate it was inspirational and uplifting to watch him, and the way that he kept his eyes on the ball.
Pops it up in the air looking for Mitchell Clark.
And then you'd think next time I go, I'm going to have to go with the same intent and the same purpose.
Jonathan Brown going back, courage and strength. What a mark.
I remember coming in every pre-season and Brownie would be up there running with the midfielders. And that's just amazing for a guy who was 106 kilo and, 196 centimetres. It was all through heart and work rate. And you'd always know that he was around because he was a big puffer and panting. You could always hear him coming.
Can he do it on the left? It'd be a beauty if he could. It's not bad. It's a ripper. Number 7.
Week in, week out, they'd have to put multiple players through him because he just worked up and out that hard. Early in his career, he did it higher up the ground, and then later in his career, he showed that he could go deeper and kick a lot of goals and hit the scoreboard.
Lions need to respond, and Jonathan Brown says, in the best way possible.
And that included a Coleman medal.
This man is the king of the jungle. 8 of the best for Jonathan Brown.
Obviously, to come out here onto the biggest stage and to be able to perform and handle the pressure, is really, really important. And no one played a bigger role during that period of time than Brownie.
The Brisbane Lions are premiers again.
He was always keen with his family history to play for the Lions and play for a club that he loved, and he would have had many opportunities to seek so-called greener pastures in Melbourne or elsewhere, but his heart was always with the Lions.
Jonathan Brown stood up when it was counted.
It's an amazing game, and probably the greatest thing about the game is the people that it's comprised of. His character off the field and his willingness to give back to not only the game but to give back to people along the way has been first class.
I'm not sure if there is a more admired player.
No, I don't think there is. Because what you see is what you get.
You betcha, Jonathan Brown. He's got 10.
He's as good as any player I've played with. You could trust him, you could rely on him, no matter where he played and who he played with, or whether it was early in his career or late in his career. He always handled the pressure I guess that's why he's made such a big mark on the game.